Good evening and thank you for joining me tonight. My name is Rida Tebet Kering and welcome to Maisha Prime News. But first, let's have a look at our top stories.
Si watu naambiwa wasomesha mtoto. Sasa kuna haja gani unasomesha mtoto lakini ukienda kuchagua kiongozi unachagua mtu hajasoma? Then why do you take your children to school? It's a contradiction in terms. Watu wasome. Enda rudi shule ufanye degree.
Managing the containment measures of COVID-19 has been a tough task.
Welcome. The country is yet to hear the end of the intention by the IEBC to invoke Section 22 of the IEBC Act that requires each and every aspirant in the 2022 general election to be a holder of at least a bachelor's degree. The latest to join the fray is Machakos Governor, who says the lack of leaders with more than formal education has led to poor quality of legislation. MCAs have been opposed to the move, saying it subverts the will of the people.
Enda rudi shule ufanye degree.
The Chebukati-led electoral governing body IEBC continues to get opposition and support in equal measure after the chair declared all members of parliament must possess not less than a degree to qualify for a member of parliament political slot.
We follow what's in the law.
The latest to throw his weight behind Chebukati's directive is Machakos Governor Alfred Mutua.
Enda rudi shule ufanye degree.
The second-term governor questioned the mindset of the naysayers against the rule, adding that it is ironical to send your child to school and then elect uneducated leaders to lead them.
Si watu naambiwa somesha mtoto. Sasa kuna haja gani unasomesha mtoto lakini ukienda kuchagua kiongozi unachagua mtu hajasoma? Then why do you take your children to school? It's a contradiction in terms. Watu wasome. Enda rudi shule ufanye degree.
He said that the leaders must be educated to have capacity to interpret complex laws.
Ndio ende ukachambue, unaulizwa laws of Kenya constitution, you can interpret it. We also need to be serious about work. Fanya kazi. Pesa si ati uongozi. You can have money, but you also need an understanding of the law. The law is not just about being rich. It's very simple. The reason there's a requirement for a degree is because you are interpreting law. Being a legislator requires you to interpret law. And to interpret law, you need to have a basic understanding of English, of legal terms, of world view. You need to be able to read the American Constitution and others to interpret law, and that requires a minimum standard.
The Machakos County boss even made a comparison of an architect who must precisely follow building rules, terming the requirement for the basic education to qualify for election as an applicable way of management.
For you to be a doctor, to be able to go and interpret medical books and operate on somebody, you need to have basic education for you to be able to operate on somebody or to treat somebody. For you to be an engineer, uweze kujenga nyumba, you need a certain set of education that understands the equilibrium of a house, the designs and everything to be an engineer. The same way, to be a legislator, you need a basic education level to understand the legal premises that you are supposed to be doing. Because the work of the legislature is to ensure we have good laws in our country, to support the executive and to hand in hand with the judiciary.
According to IEBC, this law has been postponed several times in the elections calendar and must take effect in the coming year.
The next general election must have a university degree to be able to qualify to run for office.
However, residents of Bungoma Town who talked to Maisha TV were equally in support and opposition of the law in tandem.
Tukiangalia kwa undani sana, wengine wao hata wakuhitimu kufika kupata hizo certificate. Lakini kwa sababu ya pesa ama maybe mtu akaweza ameweza kupata ile certificate na ameweza kuingia. Maana hata juzi tuliona kuna mtu ambaye ako katika mbunge ama ako katika hiyo cheo cha juu, lakini hata kuongea Kiingereza ni shida.
Yote ambaye hana degree, sio hana bachelor, asiongoze nje ama asisimame kura. Mimi hiyo napinga, sababu uongozi unatoka kwa Mungu. Na wakati ambapo unasema mwenye hajasoma asisimame kura, ni kama kuna hidden message hapo kwamba wale ambao hawajasoma wanafanya kazi mzuri zaidi kuliko wale ambao wamesoma.
Yao wakiwa na degree, bachelor, lakini mimi nataka niseme hivi. Kuna uongozi ambao Mungu tu ndiye anapeana. Kama uongozi ya kulinda nchi, mtu kama president haifai kuchaguliwa kwa misingi yoyote ya masomo.
Hiyo si jambo mbaya, lakini unajua uongozi watu wengi wamesoma. Sasa hiyo imekuwa tu njia ya kueliminate watu. Sasa hiyo ni elimination method.
Maisha TV.
And the 6 judges who were recently rejected by President Uhuru Kenyatta in recent appointments can now breathe easy after the High Court issued orders barring their removal from office over alleged unethical conduct. In order issued on Wednesday, Justice James Makau temporarily blocked any investigations or prosecution of the nominees. The 6 include Justices George Odunga, Joel Ngugi, Agri Muchelule and Weldon Korir, who had been recommended by the Judicial Service Commission JSC to serve in the Court of Appeal. Chief Magistrate Evans Makori and High Court Registrar Judith Omange were also omitted from the list of judges gazetted by the head of state forthwith in the new orders. Justice Makau blocked any recommendation for the removal of the judges or interference with their duties. And only 3 million Kenyans have collected their Huduma number cards. That is the statement by the government spokesperson Cyrus Oguna. Addressing the press today, Oguna revealed that out of the approximately 5.5 million cards printed by the government, only 3 million have been collected. Let's have a look.
To address very briefly, it's about Huduma number. We are all aware that the government initiated the rollout of issuance of Huduma number cards to our people. And that exercise has been going on, especially at the sub-county level within the National Registration Bureau offices. And as of today, we have been able to process between 5.3 million to 5.5 million cards. Collected so far are only 3 million cards. So about 2.5 million cards are yet to be collected by our people. And this is a concern really because these cards belong to us. And the only reason we can give for that is because we receive messages that notify us about readiness of our cards to be collected, but many a time we do not necessarily respond to those cards. Sorry, to those messages, the notification. And if you do not respond to that message on your phone, it will be there for 48 hours, then it will disappear. So it is important really for us to be able to respond to the messages once we receive them on our mobile phones. We want to stay here categorically that Huduma number card is free. There is no payment whatsoever to be given to anyone for you to collect Huduma number card. So I'm requesting members of the press to be able to relay this information. For those who might not have been able to register during phase 1 for one reason or another, again, we're informing our people that phase 2 of registration is ready for rollout. All logistical matters have been put in place. It will be conducted to the National Registration Bureau, or what we call ID card offices at the sub-county level.
Interior CS Fred Matiang'i has warned that the government might restrict movement in some western and Nyanza counties to tame the spread of COVID-19 pandemic. Matiang'i said they are monitoring the trend and will announce the way forward soon. The public and private hospitals in Kisumu have overstretched their capacities as more cases of COVID-19 emerge.
Managing the containment measures of COVID-19 has been a tough task.
That's the pronouncement from the Interior CS Fred Matiang'i. The CS pushed for tough containment measures to curb the ongoing spiraling COVID-19 infections in Nyanza region.
We challenge the surge in the western part of our country, affecting especially the Nyanza counties and partly western Kenya counties. I know we are up to the task. The National Emergency Response Committee has been meeting regularly.
Addressing the press today on Wednesday, the tough-speaking CS intimated that the situation in Nyanza is being monitored with consultations ongoing for the way forward. He said that the decision will be communicated.
I think by the end of today, we will have a position and we will consult closely amongst ourselves and with the President, and a decision will be made on how we will enhance the containment measures.
He further pointed out that the majority of residents within the Nyanza counties have disregarded the containment measures as directed by the Ministry of Health, hence the spike in cases.
It's now becoming absolutely necessary that we enhance containment measures in the Nyanza counties and in parts of western Kenya.
For instance, he mentioned that both public and private hospitals in Kisumu have overstretched their capacities, with more cases being recorded daily.
It may lead to us introducing new measures to deal with movement and some of the social activities, all of which are intended to ensure that we manage the spread or the surge of COVID-19.
In the past 2 weeks, Kisumu has been leading in terms of the county distribution in COVID-19 infections. On Saturday, Kisumu County government threatened to take legal action over unclaimed bodies in the mortuaries. The county government revealed that the unclaimed bodies were putting residents at risk amid high COVID-19 infections recorded in the region. Through a statement, the county officials issued a 48-hour ultimatum to all mortuaries to collect unclaimed bodies for disposal. Maisha TV.
And as Kenya joins the rest of the world to mark World Elder Abuse Awareness Day, at least 123,000 elderly people have been locked out in the state's monthly stipend due to Labor and Social Protection Ministry's failure to update the beneficiaries registrar. The elderly erroneously omitted will now have to wait longer as the government says there is no money to recruit more people. Kenyans also have been urged to discard the becoming habit of lynching and abusing the elderly on claims of being witches.
2021 day for the elderly, abuse of the elders. And we are celebrating this day, we are recognizing, we are marking this day to underline the seriousness and the commitment government of Kenya gives to protection and care of older persons. Today we are also launching the Kirinyaga Rescue Center for the Aged.
Nataka watu ya Kirinyaga mutoke kwa hiyo orodha. Muwe watu wa kuchunga wazee wenu. Muwe watu wa kuchunga wakina mama na wazee. Take responsibility. How do you explain someone who suffered? Alienda mtoni asubuhi kuchotea we maji, ukaenda shule, akalala njaa, akakupeleka shule, sasa unaitwa profesa, sasa unaitwa daktari, sasa unaitwa mwanabiashara, unaitwa mheshimiwa, alafu mama yako analala nje, baba yako analala nje. It's unfortunate. It's a very sad. Na wale caregivers, I want to give you a warning. We now have regulation on caregivers. Wale wanasaidia wazee. Kuna wazee with severe disabilities. We are now giving a serious warning. If anyone is found cheating, kudanganya hawa wazee, tusiwahi kusikia kama wizara ama iripotiwe kwamba wewe umenyang'anya mtu mzee pesa yake.
Kakamega County Governor Wycliffe Oparanya has called on the county residents to embrace alternative dispute resolution mechanisms to help reduce cases backlog in the courts. Oparanya says a backlog of cases remain a challenge in the judiciary, with some Kenyans forced to wait for as long as 10 years for the determination of their cases.
Uende kotini, uharibu pesa yako, uharibu wakati wako, kwa sababu tuko na kesi ambazo zimekuwa kotini karibu miaka 10. Wengine wanakufa, kesi bado ziko kotini. Kwa nini hatutumii jamii kutatua hayo mambo? Ndio mnajua mpaka hii ya nani, hii shamba ilikuwa ya nani, watoto wa huyu mjamaa ambaye alikufa, mzee alikufa ni nani? Kama mnajua, kwa nini muende kotini? Na serikali kuu imeamua alternative dispute resolution ni halali. Nyinyi kama jamii mkikaa, chief wako hapa, assistant chief na administrator wangu wako hapa, na muamue, muandike chini, hiyo itakuwa ya halali. Hauna haja ya kwenda kotini.
And former United Nations Conference and Trade and Development boss and 2022 presidential candidate Muhisa Kitui is calling for sobriety in public expenditure, claiming the country's risk falling into a financial crisis. Muhisa says the country must find alternative means of financing its development and ensure equal allocation of projects in the country. In his speech, Kitui also accused President Uhuru Kenyatta of ignoring Western Kenya in developments.
Of all citizens of the country. Na ninasihi serikali ya Mheshimiwa Uhuru Kenyatta ionyeshe kwa vitendo kwamba pia inajali zile shida za mkuzaji wa miwa, mfanyikazi wa Mumias, ajira ambayo ni chache kwa zile ajira chache ziko ukanda huu wa Kenya.
Shida imekuwa zaidi ni management ya hizi factories. Watu wanafikiria mali ya umma ni mali ya kuuma tu, yaani unauma na unaenda. Badala ya wewe uuze hiyo miwa umeletewa na mkulima, baada ya siku 7 ulipe huyo mkulima haki yake, jasho lake. Unapata hata mfanyikazi wa hiyo kiwanda halipi kwa miezi karibu 6. Hiyo ndio sababu tuliunda hiyo task force.
The National Council of Churches of Kenya South Rift Chapter wants the planned referendum under the BBI banner be shelved and priority be given to the general election. The clergy have given a raft of recommendations which they say will lead to a credible vote. Let's have a look.
Since the Constitution touches and controls the lives of all Kenyans, the process to amend it is crucial, and all Kenyans must be given adequate time and understanding to effectively participate. For this reason, this regional conference calls upon the promoters of the BBI to postpone the process until after the 2022 general elections. It is not feasible for our nation to hold referendum and a general election within 1 year. Priority should be given to the 2022 general election. To ensure that the nation is ready and focused on the coming elections, we recommend the following. A, the infrastructure be urgently put in place to facilitate registration of more than 4 million Kenyans who have attained the majority age of from between 2017 to date. That the IEBC commences a program of monthly briefings to the nation on the preparations done in readiness for the upcoming general elections. C, that the IEBC partners with the churches and other faith institutions to use the congregational structures and forums to deliver an intensive voter education program which avoids last-minute rush.
Kenyan troops will in the next few weeks leave in batches to the Democratic Republic of Congo. The team, which is part of the UN mission, will conduct peacekeeping missions as well as engage the enemy in the eastern Congo. The Chief of Defense Forces CDF, General Robert Kibochi, said that the country's good record in peacekeeping missions is known globally and urged the troops to raise the standards to keep up with the character of the Kenya Defense Forces, which is of professional and mission-ready force. Handing over the Kenyan flag to the Quick Reaction Force QRF, proceeding to the United Nations Organization Stabilization Mission in the Democratic Republic of Congo at Embakasi Garrison, Kibochi congratulated the troops for being selected to represent the country in Congo. He reminded the troops of the need to uphold the highest standards of discipline as per the UN Code of Conduct.
Certainly mission ready and will be capable to execute MONUSCO specified task in the achievement of our mandate.
Hii si ile peace mission ambaye tunazoea. Hii ni kama mission ambaye tuko naye huko Somalia. Tumekuwa na shida katika peace mission nyingi kama upande wa Central African Republic ambao kumekuwa na mambo ya sexual assault na exploitation by peacekeepers.
And Britain's Karim Khan has today been sworn in as the new prosecutor of the International Criminal Court (ICC), facing huge challenges, including investigations into the Palestinian territories, Afghanistan and the Philippines. Khan, 51 years old, a former defense lawyer for the Hague-based tribunal, was elected by ICC member states in February to serve a 9-year tenure at the world's only permanent war crimes court. He has been left with a bulging case filed by his predecessor, Fatou Bensouda, who extended the ICC reach to dramatically that she was hit by US sanctions, but also suffered a series of high-profile failures. The new prosecutor became a familiar figure in Kenya following his representation of the Deputy President William Ruto in ICC when he was mentioned among the people who took part in the crimes against the humanity during the 2007-2008 post-election violence.
I now invite the new prosecutor of the court, Mr. Karim Khan, to address us. The floor is yours, please.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. Vice Presidents, Honourable Judges of the International Criminal Court, Vice President of the Assembly of State Parties, Mr. Registrar, President of the International Criminal Court Bar Association, my predecessor Fatou Bensouda, and Deputy Prosecutor, ladies and gentlemen, it is a great honor to take this solemn declaration, but it's apt to recall that this magnificent courtroom, this building, and this office that I now lead can be viewed through two different prisms. First, it is an awful testament to the horrors of mankind, that in this 21st century, as we send rovers to Mars, as we are about to commence space tourism, where we have managed to harness the powers of the sun, of the wind, and of oceans. In this 21st century, medieval crimes are being committed by modern people. Rape, slavery, killings, torture, attacks against identity, all manner of persecution and destruction of cultural property take place as we speak. But through the other prism, through the other lens, this court and the whole Rome Statute architecture represents, in my view, a promise to the future that tomorrow need not be as bleak, as sorrowful as yesterday.
And with that, we've come to the end of Maisha Prime News. My name is Rida Chebet Kevin.